Greetings everyone, and welcome to LEGO Rewind, where we take another look at old retired LEGO themes. And today's theme is something else. We've gone to some pretty dank places before, but today is a theme I can't even look at without needing a tetanus shot. We're dumpster diving into the nightmare world that is...
Hey guys, Nate Untitled Chapter here, and welcome to Korea Rewind, where we take a look back.
Greetings everyone, and welcome to Brick Memories, where we take a second look at old LEGO YouTubers and their all too short-lived careers. This episode's a little different though. Usually we take a look at creators who've fallen into obscurity or even retired, but this one's retirement wasn't by choice. Today we examine the work of one Nicholas Anderson, aka Nick on Planet Ripple, or as you may have known him back in the day, Nick on Aquamagna, as in the water moon from his favorite LEGO theme Bionicle. Nick on never really considered himself a LEGO YouTuber, at least not until later years, but LEGO was always a part of his channel's DNA, always present whether it be Bionicle, Hero Factory, or something else.
Well, hello there, my name's Madak.
In summer 2014, he uploaded a video simply called LEGO Games as part of his Gaming Injustice series of reviews, I guess. The video isn't that good. The script is clunky, the gags are cringy, and he goes a little overboard with his voice modulation. But this seemingly random video was a sign of things to come. His channel dominated just a few years later by his most ambitious video project of all. LEGO Rewind is a comprehensive 26 episode series covering numerous LEGO themes, with a primary focus on old retired sets, but also shining a light on their modern or most recent counterparts. It ran for 2 seasons, each made of 12 normal episodes and a seasonal recap. A third season was planned in 2019, but he didn't get around to it. This is the last selfie Nick took before perishing in a freak Sharpie accident at an out-of-state convention the next day. Yeah, okay, so look, I love the guy's work, but it's far from perfect. I'm not here to speak ill of him, but I won't sugarcoat my thoughts either. Don't say it's too soon. I've waited 2 years to give Nick's work the proper analysis it deserves, and for all of his loved ones who may be watching this is how he would have wanted it. Okay, let's go.
With great clutch power comes great irresponsibility.
LEGO Rewind flew under the radar for a while. The first few episodes almost felt like watching a completely different show at times. Like, he was still figuring this stuff out. Yet to establish many of the staples the show is known for, still, a few of the building blocks are there. Commercials for the sets in question play at the end, background music is listed in the corner and usually lifted from some game or other soundtrack that suits the subject matter. He gushes over things like backgrounds and people's mocks. There's a rough but cozy atmosphere. This whole guerrilla documentary style that also feels like reminiscing with a friend you haven't seen for a while.
So that's why I stopped using scissors.
The show had 4 pilot episodes and could have easily ended there if not for people urging him to continue. Man, is that a head trip. I bet somewhere in the multiverse there's a timeline where he did stop only at 4 episodes. In this timeline though, the show did go on, slowly at first, not performing great in terms of views, at least not like he hoped. But all the while you can see the guy's passion for the little things. Those easy-to-miss details that said something about the lives of the minifigures on screen. It's those moments he clearly enjoyed most. Whether he was looking at official sets or other people's projects, LEGO's products were only half of the show, as he also delved into the lore behind them and how the company's marketing often didn't line up with what those sets were actually about. I wouldn't know the real stories behind themes like Insectoids or Throwbots or Alpha Team without this series. The show's humor is pretty laid back, if not sardonic at points. The bits that don't land are usually where he's trying to be funny. His deadpan observations, on the other hand, would sneak up on you with that smooth, ASMR-like quality to his voice and verbosity.
I still can't believe these animals are real.
Then there were those times where he just completely gave up and made puking noises. One of the earliest standouts is the Galador episode. An April Fool's special that has this crazy Twilight Zone setup where it begins as an Exoforce episode, then glitches out as we're transported to some alternate universe where Galador was so successful that LEGO stopped making anything else.
Glinch her? I don't even know her.
This is such a weird way to go, especially so early on, but that's the sort of show this was sometimes. He wasn't afraid to pull the rug out on occasions. I would have liked to see more of these, like maybe an episode where Mega or Knax take over. I don't know. The funniest thing about this episode is, the lower the viewers add to it in the comments, people are still playing along even though the guy's been dead for years. Now that's amazing dedication. The actual Exoforce episode was where the show finally came together. The formula was set, the editing was tighter, and it was the longest episode so far. What started out as just a quick side project to sprinkle in between other videos was starting to take over Nick's content production. But while this was the most popular episode to date, the show still hadn't quite found its audience. The dinosaur episode that would release a little over a month later would change that. By now, there was a decent sized playlist people could binge, and seemingly overnight, they started discovering the show, posting links on Reddit and Discord and other platforms. Surprised, they missed out for almost a year. From there, Nick started churning out new Rewind episodes pretty regularly. When the first season ended, people expected it to be a while before new episodes came out. But the next episode was released just 2 days later, and the next few episodes started coming out just a week or few days apart. He was on a high, and people had to tell him to slow down before he'd blow through all of LEGO's themes and run out of things to talk about. That was a legitimate concern, as he made it clear there were many themes he just wasn't interested in covering, mostly licensed themes. Part of the show's magic was the guy's sincerity. He really loved the themes he talked about, and he'd already covered most of his favorite themes in the first season, and while season 2 starts out pretty good, a rot began to set in.
I think LEGO got a bit too real with this one.
On a technical level, the show continued to improve in small ways, but most of the later episodes were just okay. A few, pretty bad. In trying to make a statement with each new episode, the guy ended up stepping out of his lane a couple of times.
Mainly the introduction of Native Americans. Don't call them Indians, that's just being politically correct.
Well, actually, Nick, some of them do prefer to be called Indians as they don't identify with America. You know that if you actually ask some of them. It was a bumpy ride towards the end. It seemed he was enjoying the show less and less. The seasonal recaps are the best way to look into the guy's mental and emotional state that the show provides. The purpose of these episodes was mainly to correct errors he'd made throughout the show, or address new information that came to light concerning old episode topics. I mean, dude got things wrong all the time. You have no idea. So this works. But these eventually just evolve into him venting. The pressure of constantly being asked to make new episodes, often about themes he just didn't want, was clearly stressing him out as the show dragged on. He started getting defensive and even bitter. And I mean, I kinda see why. Up until Rewind started blowing up, he'd been a small YouTuber. I mean, really small YouTuber. And I don't think he was prepared for the audience to start growing so suddenly as it did. Many of these new viewers were children, which really shouldn't have caught him by surprise given he was talking about toys. But he got a grip on things, found his footing, and went back to basics.
In this household, we respect Travis.
The last proper Rewind he uploaded was episode 25, Space Police. And you could tell from this one he was just having fun again. The raw energy from the first few episodes was back, ready for more. It seemed like a sign of good things to come. Then, the final episode of LEGO Rewind There Will Ever Be, a season 2 recap featuring Seatron, a cancelled LEGO theme. This is where we hear the most about his plans for season 3. He was ready to make a few compromises, talk about themes he hadn't considered at first, and promise a finale that would blow all the other episodes out of the water. But we know what happened soon after. It's hard to even imagine what he'd fill out a whole third season with. Probably a bunch of licensed themes. It's been confirmed by some of his closer friends, who he let into behind the scenes from time to time, that a Hero Factory episode was in the pipeline to kick off season 3. He even shared a few clips with them, which they've since shared with fans to be uploaded to YouTube. This is probably the last time he recorded his voice.
I actually do like the aesthetic of these first wave villains. They're all black with one other color each, kinda like the Rahi and Bionicle's first year. That's neat. I guess the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Hero Factory was still a relatively recent theme and seemed like an odd choice for the show, but combining this with his statement from episode 26, it's been theorized by some fans that the final Rewind episode would have featured Bionicle, which he even sort of foreshadows back in the season 1 recap. This seems pretty plausible as it would neatly bookend the beginning and the end of the season with construction themes. That's constructible action figures for those who aren't into them. I don't even like Bionicle, but sure, I'd watch that episode. I mean, some of it. It'd be like, what, 5 hours long? His other work, Planet Ripple, will also forever remain unfinished. Volume 4 releasing just a couple of weeks before, you know what. The series leaves us on a pretty crazy cliffhanger, and since Nick's untimely encounter with a Sharpie, there have been some interesting new developments in the world of LEGO. I can just see him eat up Hidden Side. It had a vibe pretty similar to those late 90s, early 2000 themes he loved so much in Season 1. And most of the sets look like they could take place in Maine, his home state. And you know he would have had something to say about Monkey Kid. I don't think he would have liked it that much, but still. It's hard to even say for sure what would have happened had LEGO Rewind continued. If he would have ended it with Season 3 or found a way to keep the show going in a way he loved doing. LEGO Rewind ultimately has left a mark on fans and on the wider LEGO community. Even more so in his absence, I don't think he could have imagined how much the show's reach has grown these last couple of years. And all he had to do was die. People are still subscribing to his channel, even though no new videos are coming. And to get a little mushy for a sec, it was this show that inspired me to make my own YouTube content. Anyways, I think that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. It'll probably be my last. If you have a bucket of old hand-me-down Legos in your grandma's attic, pieces you could never identify without a rewind, or if this episode of Brick Memories has rekindled some fond childhood memories in you, or any moments with Nick that stuck with you, please feel free to share those stories in the comments. We've only got a year before that asteroid hits and kills us all, so share him while you got him. And Nick, man, wherever you are in the afterlife or multiverse or whatever, I just hope you are doing okay.